Wizard. A title shimmering with glory and ultimate power. It's the daydream of every child, yet a cruel reality that draws the line between the ruling class and ordinary mortals. While the dark shadow of a giant demonic beast stalks a small village, their only hope for survival rests entirely on pleading for a powerful wizard's help. However, no one knows that not far away, on the windswept Hizaril Hill, a young shepherd is drowning in days of extreme boredom. He cares nothing for the affairs of the world, nor does he bother to hide his contempt for the greed of those who call themselves elders. A canvas woven with innocence, fear, and a fiercely apathetic attitude is about to unfold. Under the morning sunlight piercing through the leaves, two children are deeply engrossed in a mock battle. The little boy grips a dry branch tightly with both hands, his eyes burning with determination. "I'm a wizard! Eat my magic, you monster!" Playing the villain, the little girl bares her teeth and growls, raising her stick to block. "Grah! I'm a monster! I eat wizards!" Taking a deep breath, the boy swings his branch with all his might, landing a crisp hit right on his friend's head. The real hit makes the girl clutch her head, whining in pain. "Ouch! How can you hit me for real?" The boy rests the branch on his shoulder, lifting his chin in proud declaration. Monsters are supposed to lose to wizards. Indignation is written all over the girl's face as she pouts. "In that case, I want to be a wizard too." Instantly, a blunt "no" rings out, as the two bicker over how, "That's not fair." A gentle, hearty chuckle echoes from behind. The white-haired elder Rabus approaches with a warm smile. "Ho ho, you sure are energetic in the morning, little ones." Both children cheer in unison. "Grandpa Rabus." Childhood curiosity is boundless. The boy looks up with wide eyes and asks, "What do I need to do to become a wizard?" The smile on Elder Rabus's lips fades, replaced by a stern and realistic gaze. "You can't become one just because you want to. Wizards are the apex of humanity, ones who rule over humans from the highest hierarchies." The image of majestic magical masters praying before a glowing golden magic circle appears like an unshakable monument. The elder continues, "They're nobles and knights who inherited the ability to use mysterious powers from our ancestors. So, unfortunately, you too can't become wizards." The bluntness is so severe that a passing young man sweats nervously and intervenes. "Elder, how could you say something like that to children?" Ignoring the reproach, Elder Rabus sighs softly, his expression turning heavy with concern. "Well, that's that. Is it true?" The young man is taken aback. "What is?" Immediately, his face stiffens, dropping his voice in deep anxiety. "I heard a monster appeared, half hidden in the shadows." The elder gives a solemn nod of acknowledgement. "It's true." Panic ripples through the bystanders, a woman covering her mouth in shock. "Oh no!" The elder slowly elaborates. "They say ROP came across it at the entrance last night." A chilling atmosphere crawls down everyone's spine as they picture the beast. They said its whole body was covered in a pitch-black shadow, and it was a leopard as big as a house. Fear is evident on their faces. The woman hurriedly pulls her little girl into a reassuring hug. "But don't worry, the village chief went to the city to request for a wizard." A spark of hope returns to the young man's eyes. "He'll definitely bring a wizard back, and the monster will be subjugated." That affirmation brings a collective sigh of relief. "You heard that, right?" The mother gently reminds her child. The little girl gulps, obediently taking in the warning. "For the time being, you cannot go into the forest." Elder Rabus grips his walking stick tightly, his thoughtful gaze fixed on the distance. "You all should be careful as well. Without a wizard, killing a monster is close to impossible." Fully grasping the extreme danger, the young man asks anxiously, "Do all the villagers know?" "Of course," the elder replies. Suddenly, the young man pauses, hesitantly bringing up a certain name. "Then what about him?" "The shepherd on Hizaril Hill." Far from the noise and fear of the village, Hizaril Hill reveals a strangely serene beauty. Green grass rolls beneath a crystal-clear sky, sheep grazing lazily beside obedient sheepdogs. That is where the young man named Turon lives. The wind tousles his messy hair as Turon lies flat on the grass, chewing on a stalk, his lazy eyes staring up at the sky as he lets out a long, dramatic sigh. "This is so boring." Turon spreads his arms wide, letting his body sink into the dullness of passing time. He mutters to himself, "The same scenery, the same day, over and over." Glancing down at the quiet wooden cabin amidst the sheep pasture, the teenager clicks his tongue in frustration. "At this rate, I'm going to forget how to talk." That agonizingly boring piece doesn't last long. A large dark shadow falls over him, blocking out his sun, accompanied by a raspy, disdainful voice. "Pathetic brat." An old man with a long scar on his face leans on his cane, looking down at him and sneering. "The sun hasn't even started to set, And you're already slacking off? Turon slightly shifts his gaze upward, his face expressionless as he replies coldly. You're blocking the sunlight. Move. His nonchalant attitude infuriates the old man. You have no manners. The corner of Turon's mouth twitches into a cynical half-smile. Are you still holding on to that incident from back then? The old man flinches, a drop of cold sweat rolling down his temple. That incident. Turon sits up casually, tossing his hair, his eyes suddenly turning razor-sharp, piercing right through the man's facade. Ah, you mean when my mother died, and you tried to quietly turn the sheep into shared property? Caught red-handed, the old man can only awkwardly clear his throat to cover his tracks. Dusting the grass off his clothes, Turon delivers a cold ultimatum. Yeah, if that's what you mean, then yes. I'm not generous enough to share my mother's inheritance, you know? We're not close enough to be asking how we're doing. So if you came here, say what you want and get lost. Turning purple with rage, the old man roars helplessly. You little brat! Turon's eyes sharpen instantly. He springs up, blurting out in surprise. What? A monster? The elder flinches at the sudden reaction, stammering. A monster has appeared. Turon gently strokes the soft fur of a little sheep, listening quietly. They say it's a leopard as big as a house. The elder continues. ROP found it. I'm on my way back after telling the villagers. Contrary to the tense atmosphere, a cynical smile tugs at the corner of Turon's mouth. That's a serious problem. The elder frowns in confusion. That you're not scared, even though you're the most likely target around here? The elder scoffs. I don't know what kind of guts you've got. Anyway, the village chief went to the city to request a wizard, so be careful. I came because I was worried about you. Turon turns his back and walks away, dropping a brutally honest truth. You're not very honest. Why can't you just say you came because you were worried about the sheep? Not me. Caught in a lie. The elder is left speechless, roaring in utter frustration. You! Turon glances back slightly, a provocative half-smile etched on his handsome face. Old man, if you're done talking, get lost already. Your breath stinks so bad my nose is going to rot. He leisurely guides his flock across the green pasture, leaving the fuming elder behind. His clear eyes suddenly plunge into a deep well of thought. Monsters. With every barefoot step on the grass, his train of thought begins to flow. Beasts that wield mysterious power and magic. If humans have wizards, then beasts have monsters. He ponders the upcoming scenario. A wizard is coming to a backwater village because of a monster? So I finally get to see a wizard in person. But if it's a rural village chief calling them, there's a good chance they won't be anything special, even if they're a wizard. Still, a faint smile lingers on Turon's lips, carrying the curiosity of youth. Still, I want to see one. Just how strong are they? Suddenly, a breeze sweeps by. Turon's nose twitches. His pupils violently dilate, the smile vanishing and replaced by sheer shock. This smell. He snaps his head back toward the deep forest, his voice dropping to a chilling whisper. It's blood. The crimson dusk slowly pulls its curtain over the eerie forest. The rustling of leaves blends with the silent thuds of bare feet stepping on the cold earth. Turon's silhouette wades deeper into the falling night. His face exudes solemnity, his razor-sharp gaze piercing through the gloomy canopy. I'm sure it was this way. His footsteps abruptly halt. The scene before him is enough to drain the last drop of courage from any man. Lying in a puddle of fresh blood is the mangled corpse of Elder Rabus. Turon's cold eyes lower, calling the name of the deceased. Rabus. A sigh steeped in dark irony echoes in his mind. He told me to be careful, yet goes in first. So the source of the blood smell was Rabus. Turon's eyes scan the brutal claw marks on the corpse, making a sharp deduction. This isn't a wound an ordinary wild animal could make. It has to be the monster. Suddenly, his ears catch a strange sound. He quickly darts his eyes to the side. Out of the hazy fog, a massive pitch-black foot with razor-sharp claws, emitting an eerie, sickly yellow glow, steps forward. Every heavy footstep shakes the very earth. A dense aura of dark miasma swirls around the colossal body of a demonic leopard hybrid. It lets out a suffocating growl, its glowing yellow eyes locking onto the tiny prey before it. Standing against that overwhelming pressure, Turon is but a mere speck of dust, asking himself a challenging question. How strong is a monster? Meanwhile, in a cozy wooden house down in the village, the little boy from earlier looks up with anxious eyes, asking his father. Is it true even adults can't beat it? The father sets a plate of warm food on the table, his face heavy. They're insanely strong. If ordinary adults like me rush it, you won't even be able to collect my bones. Despair washes over the child's innocent face. So even you can't beat it. Then what will happen to our village now? The father smiles reassuringly, patting his son's head with a voice full of conviction. Don't worry, the village chief will bring a wizard. The wizard will subjugate the monster. The wizard won't lose, right? The wizard will punish the monster, right? The father nods with profound satisfaction. Of course, they're great beings born with the power of magic. They'll kill the monster with a single word. In the blink of an eye, that fairy tale vision is ripped apart by brutal reality. In the gloomy depths of the forest, a space-shattering roar echoes alongside the eerie, glowing yellow eyes of the beast. Standing face to face with death, Turon's expression remains as flat as a still autumn lake, without a single ripple of fear. Rings out like a judgment from the abyss. Die! The moment the word falls, an invisible force carrying earth-shattering pressure crashes straight down from the void. The colossal beast takes the full brunt of the shockwave, its massive body slammed into the ground as magical flames erupt, tearing through the mist and illuminating a corner of the forest amidst its agonizing roars. Layers of surging mana swirl around him like a cloak woven from fire. His eyebrows furrow slightly, his eyes revealing a mix of surprise and slight disappointment. Not working? The father's words about the glory of wizards were wrong. The monster does not die from a single curse. From within the ferocious sea of fire, the demonic beast roars and rises, its rippling muscles tearing through the wind as it charges straight at the one who dared to challenge it. He spreads his arms wide, raising his voice with absolute authority. Stop! A wall of sonic shockwaves sweeps across the terrain. The monster is thrown back by the immense force, its claws violently gouging deep trenches into the earth. Half of Turon's face is cast in shadow as the corner of his mouth twists into a proud, razor-sharp smirk. That I knew killing it wouldn't work, but it can't even be stopped? Energy rains down like meteors, mercilessly crushing the monster's spiked body. It growls frantically, struggling to break free from the suppression of supreme magical power. Capitalizing on that moment, Turon lowers his stance and dashes forward like a blazing arrow. His face lights up with ruthless determination. In that case, up a rough, ordinary stone. He pulls out the sling tucked at his waist, and the rhythm of the battle suddenly takes a completely different turn. Forgoing high-tier magic or grandiose incantations, he confidently asserts his true identity. A shepherd should do what a shepherd does. Answering that arrogant declaration of war, the colossal monster, boiling with bloodlust, channels all its raw muscular power and charges forward like an invincible tank, resonate with a surging flow of mana. Harden. As the whispered command fades, the stone radiates a sharp, piercing light, becoming unyieldingly solid. Turon swings his arm, unleashing a powerful shockwave. Simultaneously, his pupil flares with the blinding golden light of magical vision, seeing through every movement of his enemy. Become faster. The sling tears through the air, creating a terrifying vortex of speed carrying destructive power, ready to deliver the fatal strike that will decide life and death. A firm bare foot steps onto the earth, officially striking the rhythm of death. Blinding magical light erupts, reflecting in Turon's cold, sharp eyes. His lips part, issuing an absolute command that coldly tears through the air. Pierce through, swirling currents of energy converge, transforming the simple sling into a spear of light carrying unstoppable destructive power, tearing through space as it shoots forward. The moment the spear of light collides with the monster's massive form, a horrifying explosion bursts forth. The terrifying, destructive power pierces straight through the seemingly indestructible spiked armor. Fresh blood splatters in all directions, painting a violently bloody masterpiece against the twilight sky. The beast's arrogant presence is entirely crushed by the bone-shattering impact. The brilliant pillar of light, carrying overwhelming might, continues its onslaught, driving straight into the center of the monster's massive body. Faced with such terrifying destructive power, the ferocious beast can only throw its head back and unleash its final tragic roars. Amidst the swirling dust and blinding light, the shepherd's silhouette stands there, silent, towering, and untouchable, like a god passing judgment on life and death. The corner of Turon's mouth twitches into a cunning, ruthless smirk. His low voice echoes, "I'm aiming." The rough stone, surging with mana, cuts through the wind, bypassing the thick hide to lock onto the fatal weak point. For the head, an explosive impact. The tiny stone, enveloped in a dazzling halo, delivers a critical blow, utterly crushing the beast's skull. Crimson blood and fragments erupt into the air, completely extinguishing the life of the arrogant hunter. The shockwave detonates, the stone having entirely penetrated the monster's most impenetrable defense. Tolling the bell of its demise, the massive, mountain-like body loses all strength and collapses heavily onto the dusty battlefield. Turon casually glances at his masterpiece, muttering as nonchalantly as if he had just finished a daily chore. This is my first time using it on a monster. The aftermath reveals a gruesome, blood-soaked, severed neck, the remnants of a creature that once sowed pure terror. Turon looks down at the foul bloodstains on his hand and clicks his tongue in annoyance. Tisk, looking at the massive carcass under the crimson evening glow, his face is filled with the absolute weariness of a slacker. Should I toss it into some valley or something? Those village bastards sure put me to work. A magnificent battle ultimately ends with the grumbles of a shepherd forced to work overtime.